Oke, jadi seperti ini. Jadi, seperti yang kalian lihat, ini adalah gambar dari Dota. Jadi, di sini ada 2 tipe. Yang pertama adalah tipe yang 1 ini adalah tipe yang 1 yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di PC. Dan yang kedua adalah tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang 2 yang memang bisa dimainkan di laptop. Jadi, untuk tipe yang 1 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di PC. Dan yang kedua adalah tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di laptop. Jadi, untuk tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di PC. Dan yang kedua adalah tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di laptop. Jadi, untuk tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di PC. Dan yang kedua adalah tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di laptop. Jadi, untuk tipe yang 2 ini adalah tipe yang memang benar-benar bisa dimainkan di PC. Dan yang kedua adalah tipe yang 2 ini ada Hello, Dota fans. Welcome back. We know what you're hungry for, and we've got it. Chef Lizard is cooking up some Dota 2 today. T-Gov, Lizzie, welcome back to Epic League. Boys, how we feeling this morning?
Feeling great. Afternoon, ready to cook, I suppose. Some Dotas. Yeah.
What's your best meal that you make, Lizard? Like, what's your specialty? What do the people come for?
Bacon and eggs. I'm very simple breakfast kind of a guy.
Yeah, that's fair. Man, I rate that.
A good cook knows that you can make a simple dish and still make it top tier. Okay, you don't have to be fancy to be a good cook. I like that, Lizard. T-Gov, what's going on in your world? Still cold over there in Ukraine?
Yep, freezing my entire body off. That's why I'm having to start wearing more clothes to be warmer. I'm gonna have to probably get a blanket during this series at some point because I am shivering.
It's a utility hoodie, not a comfort hoodie. Okay.
No, yeah, 100% utility. Do you think I want to rock this as style?
Well, I don't know. I'm not from the UK. I don't know how you guys do over there.
Poorly.
Dude, people, okay, UK, but Ukraine, people only dress in hoodies, literally, here. If you go outside, the only thing you see is Adidas everywhere.
Really?
Dude, yeah, you have to get the jacket and hoodie combo. I've just
I got it. I got it, dude. My girl bought it for me. I'm blending in. But also understand, there's only black and white here. No colors allowed.
Oh,
real.
I see. Okay.
Only black and white.
You got to blend in with the gray. I see. Perfect.
Yep.
So today,
schemes are an issue.
We are going right into the draft today, not wasting any time. OG versus Viking GG, our opener. Then we'll have Enigma versus Error, and then Secret Liquid, our final series to close out the day. But here we are, OG Viking. Viking GG still undefeated in terms of series in this group stage. Tied in first place with Na'Vi, 3-0. OG, they're middle of the pack, 1-2 right now, so they could certainly use a win here as we see Snap and Chantress picked up to get us started.
Yep, the bans are actually very telling about these two teams as they understand each other very well. Well, at least coming from these 3-4 series that they've played in the tournament. Vengeful banned out by OG. That's something that Viking loves to draft with. Vengeful Drow, Vengeful Medusa, whatever the hell. As long as there's Vengeful, you can buff a hero up to make him insane. Same goes for Viking banning out the Wisp. Like, it's obviously why and Magnus, because Magnus PA or anything else as well. Just a strong combo.
Yeah, staples coming out.
Is anyone else playing Venge right now? I feel like that is a straight respect ban against Viking GG for the most part.
Yeah, not really, in all honesty. I think some teams might pick it in the second phase, but it's not as if it's as hotly taken as, for example, Viking have. And you have OG then rounding out with a Mars as well for their next pick, and then Viking just go for the Void. So, yeah, nice
Good
openings
combos
from both teams. Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing. I think a lot of teams, the teams that have the hardest time drafting is when they don't have that like solid combo exiting the first phase. When they're trying to be like hyper flexible, they're missing out on just like what the meta is asking for. And unfortunately, we have got to a point where most of these openings are very standard and we see them all the time, but they just work, right? Like the Void plus anything, the Mars plus, Snapfire or Phoenix, it's even leaner as well.
Well, what I love about Mars Snapfire in particular, not just their synergy with team fights, but that flexibility. It could be a lane combo. It could also be a 5 Snapfire. It could be a mid Snapfire. It hits both checkboxes, right? It's flexible and a duo.
Could be anything,
and that's why production, they need to get the rainbow for flexibility. So when I do that, ta-da, flexibility. Because we keep saying it so much with the patch. If we just bam, whoop. Well, unfortunately, I keep trying to do it, and production just isn't, it's fine, whatever. We'll get it
No
sorted
rainbows here.
next week.
It's same with the Mars, really. If you watch any NA Dotes, they play Mars on 4 and 5 even, so anything is possible here. Most likely mid or offlane, but offlane 90%.
Because they're normally the meta setters, right, Lizard? Let's be real. Like, we always look to that side of the globe for what's happening with Dota.
For meta. There's that dude that played DT on position 1 and DU has caught on. I see quite a few players playing that hero, at least in pubs on carry.
I got beat by a carry Elder Titan yesterday in one of my games. I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
He got huge. He got fat. They had an anti-mage at the end of the game. The anti-mage said, "Lol, you killed me. ET's the real carry. GG." And I felt like a real idiot there. I think ET was the real carry.
One of the heroes that they've banned out right now, the Slardar. I actually love this hero versus Void, but in a combination that, like T Governor talked about, like this combo of Slardar plus Life Stealer makes anyone's life living hell, and Faceless Voids too, because you have so many stuns to work with, and he can't just go for that Mask of Madness build, run in and think that he's going to get away with it. Slardar, however, banned out by OG. That's something that Viking plays all the time, like on offlane, right?
Yep.
So
and the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, it's like cheap damage that you need to use for the Void. The best Void lineups are when you have 4 heroes that can either enable the Void to do more early damage through either itemization or spells, or it's just them having their own natural damage. Like, for example, Bloodseeker with the Blood Right, and then Slardar, you have that amp, and then suddenly Void with Mask of Madness is doing a lot of damage. So, respectable bans.
Good so
they don't
far.
really have anything. Yeah, but didn't really have any damage in that chrono now that you mentioned it. You have Enchantress and Void. Phoenix is usually one of the options that some teams go for with Faceless Void, but I don't think that's your greatest combo. You need damage. You need raw damage now for Viking.
Yeah, especially as you see their bans, they're banning out the heroes that are really annoying to deal with, especially when we mentioned that damage, of course, is only 2 picks in, but out Spectre PA, these are all heroes that Void doesn't like to itemize against, really, because like, how often do you want to go Mask of Madness, MKB, BKB, right? Like, you want to normally pivot for more greed, or at least like an earlier BKB, for example. So yeah, taking away the annoying heroes, so they can, they can survive and not have to go too all in on this Void.
What is it, though? A lot of these comfort picks we've seen over and over for Viking removed, and they've decided on the Shadow Demon.
All right.
Okay, we see this against Void a little bit more as like a save in the chrono, but they're going to use it as a setup, I guess, and a save against Mars as well.
It's a hero that's being picked up way more often now in the last few days. His stonks are rising, and I actually like Shadow Demon a lot. He always falls out of favor when some heroes that have built-in Purge come into it, right? Like some Oracles and whatnot. But then again, you kind of remember, wait, this hero hasn't been nerfed. He's still strong if some counters aren't in, and we can play him on position 4.
He's a sleeper when it comes
Golems, right?
Yeah, he's a sleeper when it comes to damage, too. Like, we always talk about his utility, but his ultimate also does a lot of damage along with the Purge. Shadow Poison obviously stacks up to do some hurt. Soul Catcher, still an amazing skill.
That BKB piercing purge as well is
Yeah.
so sick. It's one of the spells that can deal with built-in BKB heroes such as Lifestealer, perhaps. So it's pretty solid.
Okay, for the Undying. The weakness of a Shadow Demon though is just his like laning threat. He normally comes online like level 3 if he puts 2-point in poison, but before that he's one of those 4 positions where you have to play around that, preventing the pulls, and he's not like that instant lane pressure. So OG identify that and just go straight away for an Undying, just to take away potentially some of Toby's hero pool as well. Because you think about when you have a Shadow Demon as a 4, you need a more independent offlane. Independent offlanes, they kind of fall into that strength category, right? So yeah, just kind of a soft cover from some of those heroes.
I like it.
And when you look at the Undying, we've seen it yesterday played by Fata quite a lot, but also Viking, right? They played it too. They love that hero. And who else? Kuro played it with the Holy Locket build, if you remember. So maybe we'll see that once again. It's pretty sick, maxing out the Soul Rip, building that Holy Locket early on, spamming the heal throughout team fights. I like it a lot. But it's crazy that we're speaking of Undying as a hero that's picked a lot once again without any buffs.
Nah, you guys just haters, man. This Undying hero, me and my boy Fog, we're big fans of this hero. We never had any issues.
I love now that we're talking about him like a healer. Before it was all about the decays, level 1, those 2 hero decays. You can't trade with him in lane. And now it's like, yeah, he kind of bullies in lane. It's good, but it was the Undying Wisp, right? We saw that really broken healing combo with the Soul Rip. Turns out it's still really good even without the Wisp. It's just a big old burst heal. And, well, there's some vision for you. Beastmaster now for Viking GG, another big lockdown.
Yeah, it's giving you some auras as well for that Faceless Void in the Chrono, but I was waiting for this. I was waiting for Morphling from OG. It's one of those heroes that can survive throughout the Chronosphere and really does not care that much about Faceless Void. Plus you have an Undying with him on the lane. That's going to be a pretty fearsome duo, if they're laning together, that is.
It's also just the idea that Vikings lineup, it's not a lot of early kind of cheap damage to throw out, and their lockdown is all around like the Raw, the Disruption plus something after, the Chrono. And when you have heroes like Morphling, it's really hard to constantly chain onto this one hero whilst also trying to survive the Mortimer Kisses, the Arena, killing off the Tombstone. And that's what OG is basically trying to play around. It's the Chaos style of fighting, and then that kind of one carry that Viking has to somehow then find within the fight as well, and also lock down with their minimal lockdown. So it's a really nice kind of idea for the Morphling. But the reason for the Beastmaster is it's one of those offlanes that can deal with Undying, and it can also just apply a little bit of pressure. He's not always zoned out because of that boss slow, and it allows Viking to play around a hero with structural pressure because of the Void. I love seeing in a draft with Void, just one hero that can kind of go, rally around me, guys. Let's go try and make some moves happen. And then suddenly the Void's just kind of playing in their shadow, and then suddenly, bam, Chrono comes in after.
So I love the OG's ban with the Invoker. They pick up a puck. Now, nice. T, how many times did you see Devour this patch? OD.
Devour? OD?
Oh, yeah. Decorator.
Yeah, like once like maybe, if that.
Yeah, because when you see Faceless Void and Beastmaster, and you're playing into a Morphling, and you're playing versus these Snapfires and Mars, it's an excellent pick. But true. Now they pick the puck versus you, so you probably don't want it because your lane is going to be horrible, and the hero is out of the meta. So yeah, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it one of these days because it's a good combo with Faceless Void.
Yeah. I think I saw it was like Secret was the last people we team run it, right? A couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. And, it's a great hero. It's just hard to really get into a draft because it's kind of greedy.
What about like Viking? Death Prophet for Viking? Just get another stable mid laner that can add to the push a little bit.
Yeah. I don't mind that. Like you see the bans from OG, it was the DK. Oh dude. Okay. Right. They banned out the DK. They banned out the Invoker. These are heroes that can go aggressive. And yeah, they go for a Doom in the end. And when you look at OG's lineup, right, it is just a single core lineup. They're basically all trying to put this Morphling on this pedestal to win the game. So suddenly this Doom pick is value, the stonks through the roof, right? Because what does he have to do, guys?
It's cooldowns versus Morphling. That's kind of what I'm looking at here with this draft.
Just
Something
doom the
about
morphling.
something about this Doom as well is he should have a very good lane, and then you just you get minute 10 phases drums, and you just start rotating across the map. It's not even about that Doom. It's great later on in the game versus Morphling, but early on you just want to be rotating with Beastmaster as much as possible. And Doom is a hero, like we talked about it yesterday, right? He just doesn't lose mid. It's very difficult to lose that lane with him.
Yeah.
I think the good thing for OG is they have this puck factor, which is one of the best heroes against early aggression, especially when you have a kind of a triple melee core lineup, right, on Viking. So if they are going to try and overwhelm you in early fights, you have this Tombstone come into play, Coil, and then obviously the threat of this offlane duo as well. Like, there is a lot of reactive damage that OG can provide, and then you have to wait for Morphling to come online. The issue is, when he comes online, if Boom's having a great game, suddenly, if he's doomed, your big kind of win conditions out of the fight. So it is going to be about how OG can always protect this Morphling in the early game to find farm, and then in the mid to late game to enable him not getting doomed so they can actually take some strong fights.
They have so many things as well. You have Chrono, you have Roar, you have Doom. So it won't be easy for that Morphling to really just carry the game. He needs to be on the outskirts of the fight, going in and out constantly. But when a team is as skilled as OG, I think they can do it. They can play around their strengths.
Mid one Morphling, Topson puck. Can OG do it and finally slow down Viking GG in this group stage? We're going to find out. We've got two casters to carry you through the action. It's KP and Podcat. Boys, what's going on over there? Oh, yeah. Don't forget, folks, EGB.com. They're below the stream. They've got all the odds on the winners for this upcoming series and the remaining series in this group stage. Check them out if you're so inclined to bet. Now to KP and Podcat.
Thank you, panel. I'm glad we finally got this, because I don't know about you, Podcat, but I'm excited. Because you know why? You've had me harping on about it all the time. We've seen it fail multiple times, but we're going to see it again in the hands of OG. It's the POS 4 Mars.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but okay. Yeah, it's got the Saxa position 4 Mars. Haven't really seen a lot of success with this hero, but maybe if anyone can do it, it might just be Saxa.
Yeah, I think we've only exclusively seen it being ran by 5 men who, of course, have disbanded now. But OG, you know, they've had mixed results, but it feels like they're in a better place than where 5 men was at. I mean, obviously, you know, they're Division 1 compared to the 5 men who couldn't make it up there. So maybe we finally, because so far, I think it's 100% loss rate every game we've cast of Mars possible.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't really looked that amazing yet, but, you know, OGR, they're sort of known to run a bit of these more unorthodox heroes, so they might be the ones to actually be able to pull it off, although, you know, it's against this Faceless Void in the lane. Enchantress Faceless Void, I feel like this lane should do quite well against the Mars. But, you know, it's like a Mars Snapfire lane, right? They're bringing both the new heroes to one lane. It's kind of a setup for a bunch of chaos.
That's true. There's some nice interactions there, right? Like you can cookie, it maybe gets you on the other side of your opponent, then you just spear them back towards either like the tower if the gateway's close, or an easy tree lock on. So there's some kill potential for sure. I think, if anything, maybe they can kind of snipe out the Ench, but the Ench isn't going to be starting bot. They're actually starting with 3 heroes top, which is kind of an unorthodox, and I'd expect not gonna be expected by the side of OG here, considering they've got an Undying in this top lane.
Yeah, maybe they're just starting out here as 3 heroes. They might try some sort of disruption into trying to kill this guy with the boar. And it looks like he might be in trouble here, yeah.
Yep, he's gone. Quick enough, and that was what they wanted. Should be Sillery now likely to just rotate away if they get an advantage early on in this Beastmaster lane. Meanwhile, this mid matchup, are we expecting anything out of the ordinary here? Is this just going to kind of be a farm fiesta back and forth when nobody should die?
The mid matchup, you said? Was it?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this mid matchup, it's not a very eventful one, I would say. You know, potentially, if there are some sort of rotations later on, when Puck hits 6 or when Doom gets 6, you know, whoever gets 6 first has kill potential on the other, but otherwise it's sort of just a farming lane. Doom has kind of region to sustain himself with the Devour, and I mean, you're not really gonna damage the puck all that much. You know, the Scorched Earth might do a little bit of damage, but puck really doesn't care that much. So it's just gonna be 2 heroes farming. I expect the puck to be right-clicking the Doom quite a bit, so they might have to send out some more regen or just kind of go into the jungle.
They actually caught Celery here. They did use the combo, as been mentioned, the cookie, and then they spear him back towards the tree, and they managed to pick off Celery pretty easily there. Cost them a lot of regen though. Like that's kind of the worrisome part, right? Is you can go after this Eng, but there's always going to be this void that can maybe RNG turn with 1 or 2 bashes.
I mean, this lane is like the new gen Dota, right? It's like the new gen versus old. Faceless Void Enchantress, they've been around forever. And Mars Snapfire, you know, it's the battle of old versus new.
Are they like the older gen heroes? Like, I'm trying to think what the original heroes were in Dota 1. I don't know if maybe Void was. I'm not sure if Eng.
Yeah, Eng might not have been. I'm not entirely sure. I started playing some 6:30 or something.
Much earlier than me.
Yeah, but I mean, Void and Enchanters were there when I started, so they've been around the block for a while.
And seeing the new heroes together just makes me think about the panel was kind of asking some of the people they interviewed in the previous days what we expected.
Yes,
All I'll say is this: in a situation where we want something different, we're gonna get exactly that.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Level 4 Doom killing Thompson is. It looked like he got greedy with the illusion of trying to actually snipe out Boom.
Yeah, he also he doesn't have the phase shift skills. It's not that strange that you don't, but you know, he probably just got caught off guard by like 1 or 2 critical strikes. This the Wolfie creep. I mean, you do deal a lot of damage. 264 crit. Thompson is trying to pursue Boom here. He's gonna realize it's not gonna happen as they find the kill in the bottom lane. Yeah.
And then Celery is actually rotating towards the mid. They have to be careful about how they approach Boom. The thing that really turned that into his kill was having this pack door already, and the stun coming out. Yep. Mistakes being made. Thompson thought he could just farm up here, and his TP is still on cooldown for a very long time now.
Yeah, that's the top versus flop. You know, sometimes you get one or the other.
Oh, it's definitely looking like he's just being blown out of the arena by Boom in this one so far. Now having a CS lead as well as a huge XP lead over the Spark.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue now for him. When he returns to this lane, there's Boots of Doom, there's Scorched Earth at level 2. And he doesn't have phase shift, so it's not that easy to dodge this. I mean, he has to somehow sort of bait out the Doom and not die to this, or just go in and feed. Because otherwise, laning for him is going to be really difficult here.
Maybe that's a strategic move. I will make him doom me on purpose. I'm only level 4 after all. Then I can just come back and maybe level up. Because right now it's looking pretty pitiful. Celery's now rotating around. This is the thing, whenever he farms the Illusory Orb, they look to strike, and they do get the Boom out, the Doom out from Boom. I don't know if they've got enough damage. They're going to chase under.
They get the Doom from Boom.
And it's going to work.
That's a good one, mate.
Thank you. I try hard. I don't fumble. Unlike this top lane that is already starting to fall apart. I mean, obviously they got the first blood, which gave him a slight advantage, but now sniping out mid one again.
Yeah, this Shadow Demon is, I mean, quite the strong hero early on against this Morphling. Before the levels of Attribute Shift really start to kick in, the illusions deal so much damage because of the agility. And you can just continuously spam the Shadow Poison. And Morphling, you know, with this low HP pool that you want to stay at to be able to see as against Beastmaster, quite vulnerable. Notia might be in trouble here too.
It's brought down. It's just the rundown. It's very hard to stand up against this combo once they start getting an XP advantage.
Yeah, and I was gonna talk a little bit about this, but I was having some technical difficulties. But I think the OG versus Viking matchup is quite an interesting one actually. I mean, I feel like Viking are like the OG light. Or, you know, like I feel like these teams are quite similar in the way they approach the game. You know, both are generally very fast-paced teams. Of course, you know, you've seen OG pick these late game carries and sort of secure the game. I mean, during their TI runs, etc. But they are a very aggressive and kind of early-centric team in general, I would say.
I like how you brought that up, because I was kind of thinking similar this morning. Because it's like when you look at the way that Vikings been playing the last
the top's on mid.
What? Is he gonna get away? Oh no, I don't think he is. Final tick. Boom's gonna keep hunting, and he'll get him.
Got it.
He didn't move to the loose roll quick enough. Boom's able to get the kill. I mean, that aggression you talk about, like, this is an interesting thing. I like that you call him the OG Light, because the cool thing about Viking is this interchangeability. Is while I'm talking, they're going to find another pick in the bot lane maybe. Seb gets bashed up once finally, and it's enough to get the kill. Oh, no, stacks up. No crash RNG this time. Looks like you get away with this one.
Yeah, and this is also kind of the thing with this bottom lane is what I was a little bit scared of. This I feel like this Void just gives a free time, the Mars and the Snapfire. I don't really see how they're gonna pressure the Void. You know, it looks cute and everything, and like you have all these like, yeah, you have your cookie into spear and you know all these shenanigans. But at the end of the day, this Void, he's just gonna time walk. He's just gonna be completely fine, you know. And you're giving away free farm to avoid.
Yeah, it's like, what's your solution as the game goes on? It's Thompson, right? Who has only just recently got level 6. You look across at Boom, who's getting close to level 10 at this point.
Yeah, and he might find another Doom here on the top side.
Oh.
That's close call. Yeah, but I mean, you know, you can call them like OG Light, right? It's just to kind of to get a point across, right? It's
right?
Yeah, it's kind of just the idea of how they play the game, I would say. You know, they are a team that they tend to favor aggression. Like, if you look at the Vikings games where they're successful, they're usually around 25 to 35 minutes. And a lot of the time, I think OG has similar game times. They generally tend to have quite short games because they tend to favor these early game run at you, you know, just beat you to a pulp style Dota. And
yeah, they're very good at leveraging an early advantage, right? Doom, there it is. He finally finds his target.
He found it in this rune top. Topson should be kind of aware of this because they have this ward to spot it out, but
meanwhile, bot.
They might find
Hero's
here.
coming. Yep. Hard committal though, but with the tombstone down, looks like the Beastmaster will stop his rotation. And that's the thing, right? Because they're going advantage, they leverage it. And that's the thing that OG always done. Like, compared to other teams, they wouldn't kind of wait around. Like, they'd get the necessary item and then they'd pivot whatever lane had that advantage and kind of triple across the map.
Hermes is going down here. This might be trouble for the Shadow Demon.
Well, it might be trouble for OG in response if they're not careful. 2 heroes have come here, backup, disruption's out, so Shadow Demon buys a little bit more time and forcing OG to hang around, allows him to snipe out Saxon. Caught on a no-tail as well. One bash would do it, but Shad, where's this RNG? There it is. 2 in a row.
Where is it? Is that enough? Are you not entertained?
No, I want him to go bash every other hero now. We've all been there when we were Facebook with it. Just one hit with, and then you get 3 in a row. You're very content.
Yeah, I mean, Boom is really becoming the real issue of this game. If you look at the levels right now, the highest hero on OG is 7.5 on Thompson, and well, Boom he's 11.5 pretty much. It's just he's getting quite close to his BKB here at the 10-minute mark with the face boots and the bracer. This Doom is very quickly becoming, you know, quite the issue here.
I would love to see how this rates in timings, because this has to be up there. Like, he's going to have the BKB probably by the 11-minute mark. He's only going to slow down a little bit because he's smoke rotating about right now. And I just love the way that they complement each other, all these cores, right? Because you've got this pack leader's aura, and you've got a Beastmaster, and then a Faceless Void. So that issue of the Chrono not having much damage in it, it's not true. Shad actually hits pretty hard when they come together as fun.
Yeah, I mean, and Shad is just going for this Midas. He's trying to secure the game going forward. Doesn't feel like he has to go for this Mask of Madness build. Maybe just because of how far ahead they are. Generally, if you look at these heroes, they don't have an insane amount of damage in the Chrono. Shad might be in trouble here.
Oh, yeah. The damage is there for OG. They smoke rotate for that. They patiently waited. It's a good pick off. It's 2 big ults, but that is probably the best skill you can get right now if you're OG.
Yeah, the thing about the OG's draft is though that they don't really have, until Puck Ags, they don't really have any sort of ways to deal with this BKB, and the only physical damage they have is this Morphling, and the Morphling is not off to an amazing start. So once you get a bit of armor on, you know, let's say Doom, some of these other heroes. Beastmaster might be going for the standard kind of solo crest build. Looks like he is. It's gonna be quite problematic for OG to be dealing a lot of damage once these heroes get to some BKB, maybe a pipe or glimmer capes, etc.
Speaking of BKBs, the man with one is moving around the back here. They do jump first on the Shadow Demon. And BKB from Boom. He'll pursue forward, look for mid one. Moves across the side. The Prime Roar's going to come out to 7 in the meantime. The Doom gets thrown out. Undying is already dead. Rena does go down. They try to turn on to Toby. A lot of damage, but isn't going to be enough. Huck does arrive to assist, but Toby stands his ground and fights. Trying to move away. Comes to the final hit coming out. Might be good enough, but no, he cancels it. Toby gets out of range. He's going to live along with the Shadow Demon, and Viking perfectly playing with their HP pools to bait OG into their depths.
Yeah, it kind of looked like Boom was just pursuing that way too hard. He used the Doom on mid one, but mid one just walked away. But in the end,
Oh. Alright.
there's just no damage for OG. Their heroes are not. They don't have the levels. They don't have the items at this point. Thompson is. Yeah, I mean he's having one of those games.
He has 2 names, 2 nicknames, and sometimes it feels like you're flipping a coin at the start of the game to decide which, but Viking, they didn't want to leave anything down to chance. They have eradicated him in that mid lane and beyond with this Doom pick.
Yeah, and Chad is he's just queuing up the BKB here. He understands that the only way he dies is to these spells. You know the Puck Snapfire combo, some sort of arena, whatever. Once he's used Time Walk, that's the only way for him to die. There's no physical damage to be worried about whatsoever. His Morphling is far away from dealing any sort of relevant physical damage, and so he's queuing up the BKB. And I think this is just a nice decision. He's just gonna feel completely safe and just be able to just keep free farming. With this Midas, he should be just pulling ahead of the Morphling, or at least tying with him, which is totally fine if you're a Void.
Yes, because your lineup synergizes, like we mentioned earlier. There's all these auras, the way these heroes are building. It means that you don't necessarily have to just go glass cannon-y on the Faceless Void in this game. And that's always been something that Viking have been very good at, is this interchangeability of parts. It's not like you have this one true carry, and that one true carry is always Shad. They always have this switcheroo. Whoever's doing well, they can kind of back up that lane and push an advantage.
Yeah, and to say Boom is doing well is quite the understatement.
Doesn't
He's got the no, I mean he's already going for the Shiva's Guard, and the thing is, when you get these items at such an early timing, I mean, like the damage from Shiva's Guard in general, it's a nice thing, right? But when you're getting it at, you know, it's gonna be 18-20 minute mark, these heroes, they don't have that much HP yet. This Shiva's Guard is going to completely mess with them. The attack speed is not there for them.
Bring it down. They'll find a pick off the Shadow Demon. Prime Roar and the Doom are going to come out. They found the Morphling. Nice soul rip to heal him up. Chase going on the other side, but nothing to be found. They are hunting. Zax is going to drag them to the south while they pursue to the north, with Boom having that BKB still active to get the Morphling kill. No tail. Unable to save anyone with a soul rip, not even himself.
Yeah, I'm not sure OG if they have any sort of counterplay here. There might
there you
be
go.
a coil.
There's the big
He's not
play.
gonna need it.
The coil
Shad is
into
just gonna-
snapping the spear. So strong. Oh, Seb. Okay, he might be okay here. Oh, Seb, no! You were out, sir! Okay, Mech will save him, but that was too close for comfort there. He was getting ready to club him around the face again.
I mean, Boom is he's close to doubling up the highest net worth on OG.
I mean, the team as a whole are close to that infamous 1,000 gold a minute mark.
And this is going to
With
be
this.
a very quick Roche here with the Inner Beasts, the Vlads, and the Medallion on the Beastmaster. They might try here. I mean, this could have... They're just a little bit late, you know. If they would have been here, this could have been a really good fight, fighting around this pit with the Kisses and the Coil. But unfortunately, Viking are just too fast. And this is, I mean, I feel like this is really the type of Dota that Viking loves to play. It's this very quick pace. You get ahead a little bit. Viking is that type of team that they get ahead a little and they take a lot, you know?
Yeah, while OG, they're just in a situation where they're settling for scraps at the table, shall we say. 'Cause the fact of the matter is, OG weren't slow on that move. to try and intercept at Roche. It's just Viking are that fast. You don't expect at 15 minutes in a lineup to just obliterate Roshan that quickly. Now, let's try and jump with Shad. Got the Aegis though, Disruptor's going to save him. He won't even have to pop that Aegis to live. DP out attempt by Saxon will be interrupted by the primary roar. With that movement speed, Toby does pursue forward looking for more. Short of spotting anyone, so OG minimize their casualties.
Yeah, and scratch that 18-20 minute Shiva's guard. If you look at this Doom right now, it's
Lordy. Is it going to be a 20-minute
It's
blink
gonna be an
dagger at
issue.
this rate?
This is gonna be an issue.
What? He's got Doom again. He does get the morph off in time, but BKB activated, and Boom will not stop pursuing this.
He
Reinforcements
might
are
be
also
going at it
coming.
a little bit too hard here.
Yeah, he's jumping the gun. I mean, he's feeling himself. He has good reason to, but that one was his ambitious Doom of the game.
It happens, you know, it happens. He's just like, you know, I just picked up Shiva's guard. I don't care about anything. But
It's true he doesn't have to care about anything, but the problem is maybe he doesn't have the damage on his own to kill anything. But now with this smoke, they want to punish this knowing that Doom is not available. There is a chrono though. They need to spot out where Aramis is, otherwise this arena is going to be exactly like the last one. They haven't got the arena for 20 seconds yet anyway.
yeah, OG's heroes, they are smoked up. The chrono
Ooh, he
Shad
held
is
it.
going in. He does have the
Landed
BKB
too.
Shad and the Aegis.
This is fully defensive right now. The Kiss not good enough. The Chrono connects to the free. Thompson gets found right on the edge. They'll clip the Fairy Dragon's wings. They'll turn it around to the Sev as well. They've already got rid of No Tail. Arena down from Saxa. Too late to save a soul. As they'll find 3, make it 4. The only one walking away from this is Mid1. And he'll be like, whew, thank God they used that Doom before the fight.
Yeah, I feel like any other team except for OG here would have called this game. It's 17 minutes, 17,000 gold advantage at the 18-minute mark. I think this might be one of the biggest advantages I've seen in a very, very long time in terms of net worth at this minute. 18k now at the 18-minute mark. So 1,000 gold per minute at this stage of the game is, you know, it's quite insane, to be honest. I don't know that I've ever seen this early.
No, not in a long time. Definitely not in this tournament, especially. This has to be the beatdown of the tournament so far. The question is whether OG have a means of striking back at this round. There's still a lot of outer towers, so it's not like Throne is exposed, and that's the danger for them. But like you said, most teams, they would have just tapped out and said, please no more, mercy.
Yeah, but that's the, you know, OG, they do have these ideas, and I mean, sometimes it's just, I feel like it's kind of unbelievable, the things that they manage to pull off, you know, especially in these sort of bigger tournaments. They have the fighting spirit, you know.
Did he just... I didn't quite catch the start of that. I saw the net getting thrown out, but I think Celery stuck the Dark Troll Summoner in the camp and then waited for someone to walk over a little bit gullibly.
Yes. the classic. Just baiting them.
Oh,
With the
just a creep to kill. Oh no!
This creep is using the ensnare. Huh?
Wait, hold on a sec. There's only one hero here. Are they all invis on top? Celery.
And it looks like Morphling, he's decided to go for the Axe here. And I'm just thinking, what is the hero here? Is it Faceless Void? Or maybe it's the Doom with the break. Infernal Blade, I'm not sure. Not sure who he's going to become here.
Yeah. Oh, I think Thompson's going to become dead. Jeez! Alright. That Doom hits very hard. And is also farming very fast. He's going to get the Tombstone as well.
Yeah, the 8 is going to be reclaimed, but now a 23,000 gold lead at the 20-minute mark. So, I mean,
It's accelerated.
I feel like if it was one of those older patches, you know, like if we saw OG get a kill, they'd get 2,000 gold per kill at this point, you know, but, you know, Dota has been changed, so no such shenanigans.
Now Dota has this weird match situation. Shad jumps in, catches on the 2, Sev. Where the hell are the bashes, he says. There they are. 2 in a row. I don't know what it is with Shad and his Void this game. He doesn't get any bashes, and then he consecutively bashes time and time again. And they found him on out of the base. There's no escape from this.
Very dead.
They're gonna have to use the Prime Roll. They'll just toy with him along. Boom, chasing him with the BKB onto No-Tail. Will be pushed away, but the problem is your buildings, I mean, they can't retreat. Prime Roar jump in onto Park. The arena could not save him. He's down as well. You just feel like it's a matter of time at this rate before OG submit, as they're gonna get team wiped here.
Yeah, at this point, it's starting to feel like, I mean, a meme or whatever you want to call it. It's maybe OG are just trying to see how much of an advantage, they can give away.
I mean, maybe it's just one of those never give up, never stop. They've got too many motivational posters on their walls, and it's kind of working against them there. It's up at 28,000. It's going to be too late now. That they can't get mega creeps because this bot lane has completely been ignored due to Viking always having fun with corpses in the top and mid.
Yeah, I think this game, a lot of it starts, I mean, obviously with this mid lane, Boom getting that solo kill onto Topson, and then, I mean, it escalated very quickly, the rotation from Celery with the Mud Golem. There was no point in phase shift, and after that second death, when he comes back and Doom is level 6, he's level 4, the lane, obviously, it's very, very difficult to sort of come back at that point. But I also think this, the Snapfire Mars, there might be a reason why this Mars position 4 hasn't been successful. At least I feel like they haven't really proven it so just yet.
Coming in, Chad. BKB, Prime will be thrown out to Seb. They're getting rid of the Tombstone. Doom was thrown out to the pot, so he's going to go down. Seb, nowhere to run or hide. He's going to fall. Buyback comes out from top, so he's been holding on to that Dream Core. But what do they have to combo with it? They've got nothing. Arena's still on cooldown for 10 seconds. Tide Violation's making it even harder. No-Tail will also fall on the side to the right clicks of Boom, who is going for an Octarine Core in this game. They finally give up. They go, no, that's it. GG. We wondered when they would surrender. It took 32,000 net worth lead at the 23-minute mark to finally acknowledge that Viking had to buy the balls.
I mean, mid one, he tried the Ags, and he wanted to use, he became the Undying, and he was going to steal the K, but unfortunately for him, No-Tail only had 1 point in the K, so there's no real Q spam available for him. And yeah, I mean, this is probably the biggest net worth difference I've seen in competitive professional play. As far as I can recall, there must be some stats on this, but I mean, that was impressive. Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to the draft. I feel like it looks very awkward, this bottom lane for OG, and obviously Topson having one of those sort of off games did not help very much.
No, and it kind of ripples from there, right? Like, this game really was dictated by Boom. It wasn't just that he stomped mid, he made sure that he made that advantage felt in all the other lanes. Because, when you think about the outer lanes, of course, mid one had a rough start, but at least the Mars and the Snapfire were kind of trading, right? That wasn't looking too bad, but, if you're losing 2 of your lanes and drawing the other one, kind of the traditions of Dota, it doesn't tend to end well for the team at the disadvantage at the end of the laner phase. And
no, and at the same time, yeah, I mean, at the same time they're trading in this bottom lane. It's still just the Void is getting what he wants out of the lane, whereas the Morphling is I mean, he's getting pressured a bit. I think the Void is happier in that laning stage, and it's also you're losing some levels because the Enchantress is moving on the map and the Void is still fine. So it does look a little bit awkward.
And I mean, the questions in my mind going into the game too is what the bans are going to be. Maybe OG will end up showing some respect to Boom and his Doom. That's all ahead of us. We're going to head up a short break. When we return, we'll have the draft for game number 2, where we'll see if we're going to get some OG spirit bouncing them back, or if Viking are just going to blow them away even harder.
EGB, your esports betting world. The only place to find the widest choice of popular games and matches to win real money. Choose your bet on a single event or express of several matches with dizzy odds. Serving the market for 7 years with over 800,000 users. Join now to get your bonus for the first deposit up to $600. EGB, you know for sure who's gonna win.
Welcome back, Doters. A quick game one to get our day started. Viking GG. They came out at the gate swinging. They took no prisoners, no holds barred. That was absolute devastation. I'm sorry, OG fans. I'm sure you were excited for this series, and that was a big disappointment if you were really cheering for OG. They got slaughtered.
Yeah, it was devastating. Like this mid Doom, All right, I'm just going to quote some timings real quick, right? 11 minutes 30, BKB. 16 minutes 44, Shivas. And then 22 minutes, he's in their base. Cheeky little GG tree. Items on the floor. Boom's just kind of flexing on OG. Like, that was a devastating game. Oh.
Yeah. There isn't really much to analyze, right? Like when your mid laner loses as hard as Topson lost in that game, you can't really analyze the game. You can't even talk about strategies because you're literally one man down. You're playing without a hero. So it's extremely difficult to play the game.
That was a support puck, right? Brown boots into Urn with Wand. That's not your standard puck build there.
They had the support puck, support Mars, who was really a position 4, and then you had on top of that the support Grandma Snapfire that went for Max. So you literally had no damage, well, as the game was ending, but the game was ending so fast that it didn't really matter, right?
Yeah. But that's kind of the beauty of what Viking had, right? They had this ability to have these strong lanes, but also when they win the lanes, they have a way out of the game as well. They got the Beastmaster, they got Ench, like this way to just push through. And when you have OG, a team that likes to go for more kind of 4 cheaper fighting heroes +1, that doesn't get to play Dota when they lose the lanes that hard. Like, they normally like to go even and then look for the outplays.
What exactly gets to play Dota when it loses the lane 0-7 minute 10? Mid lane.
Let's think about it. Let's brainstorm, all right? Let's brainstorm.
What exactly comes back versus a minute 16 BKB Shiva's Doom? Like,
not much.
Is there something?
Really,
I'm digging deep here, and I'm not finding.
I'm thinking of like what heroes can utilize Midas right now if they were even able to farm it with that many deaths. Like
Arc Warden, maybe that they have case for
Ogre multicast. Let's get the boys memes aside. It is a very great game from Viking. The fact that they demolished the lanes and then also just showed them no mercy. They never gave OG a chance to even look good in any fight because they just walked over them and just played really well as a team. It's just Viking showing up once again.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
You go first. I'll bring up something else.
No, just a couple of team fights. You could see why Morphling could be good there. If you itemize correctly, you have that Undying killing you. You have Cookie. They would have problems catching him even with Doom and what they had, like Roar. It doesn't matter because as long as he shifts prior to that, you set up that coil, then you counter them afterwards. Morphling rejoins the fight when the spells have been used. If you don't go 17, like then you
if
can
he
do
doesn't
that.
have a Shivas at 16 minutes as well to also take away that region. Like, it's just very solid. And I think the scary thing as well, if you look out of this series, this Division 1 playoff bracket, right? Bottom 2, they go down to Division 2 playoffs, right?
Yes.
Do you want to be the team? Like right now, OG, I think they're sitting like 1 and 2. Yeah. Alliance 0 and 3, Liquid 0 and 3. We're potentially going to be seeing, again, it's early days of the group stage, but how it's setting up right now, we're going to see at least one of these big name European teams that we've looked at always at the top, potentially going down to Division 2. That's just a scary thought. Just putting it out there as we're halfway through this series currently.
Yeah. We're about a third of the way through the group stage. I think there's 15 days of group stage, and today is day 6. So, yeah, it has not been a great start for OG. That's definitely true. I want to talk about this Mars Snapfire thing, though, a little bit. It's a topic independent of them losing lanes that game. We kind of assumed that might be a position 3 Mars with a support Snapfire. They ended up doing the old NA strat, right? Position, the support Mars. Is this good? Do we like it? Are there situations where the position 4 Mars makes sense? Because I'm not seeing it.
Look, it can definitely work. It's unconventional, and let's imagine that this game was a normal game in which that Grandma gets to get the Aghanims early on. Then your Mars doesn't really need an item. You toss him in with the Aghanims, he uses the ulti, and you can follow up from there. But the problem is that, like we talked about this, right? The Grandma goes for mech because they're losing the game so hard. He's trying to heal a little bit. Seb is trying to give that utility. But when you do something like that, you're just signing your own demise because you can't come back.
Right? Yeah. I think the key thing is you have to ignore this game. In the principle, like if you're Viking, of course, game was great. But if you're OG, you just kind of forget about it. Like their idea of strategies, it can work, right? But against what they're playing into and the fact that you use lanes, you kind of have to write it off completely. And this is where OG need to look towards their bounce back and what they can bring to game 2. And like we said about that Mars and Sapphire lane, it can easily demolish games. Lizard touched on that initiation factor. Like it is, in theory, a very strong lane. You have that disconnect with the Spear as well to enable the offlane Grandma. But again, this game is a complete write-off. Viking dumpstered it, boom, you have to think about game 2, because if you think about this game any longer as an OG fan or even OG as the team, there's no way you're going to bounce back for the second game, because you're just going to be thinking about how much you got handled by Viking.
All right, you hear that, OG fans? Wipe it off, all right? Cleansing breath, pretend it didn't happen. We're starting this series fresh. OG, they're going to win 2 games straight up in a row, and we're just going to pretend like this didn't happen, all right? That's the
It's
mental
the best
state.
of 2 now, guys.
Yeah, OG
best of
needs
2.
that mental energy, everyone, all right? This is like the end of that Ghostbusters movie. If we all think positive enough, we can save New York City. Let's see if we can save OG here with a little positive mental energy.
Sending the PMA to them, but you know what as well, while I was in some teams, when you lose the first games in this fashion, I think it's even easier than when you have this struggle for 40 minutes and then you lose it, right? This game, things just didn't go their way. It was just a bad game. If you remember Storm Spirit by V as well, it's just a game in which everything goes poorly for you. That puck tries to man fight the Doom like 3-4 times in a row, falls to him, then Enchantress joins as well, and then he dies again. It's just a bad game. I don't think that you get that upset about it. It's one of those, all right, we couldn't play Dota at all. That's what happened.
I know what you mean. It's way less draining than the 60-minute, like, both of us had chances where we could have won, but then we were our own worst enemy. Those are the ones that get so hard to shake off going into the rest of the series. So I would agree with that.
Because those games actually show who's the best team, right? When you're struggling, when you're fighting against each other for 40, 50, 60 minutes, and then everyone is kind of making the mistakes, but you just make one extra and you lose. That's the worst feeling. Well, losing a game that you could have won.
Game 2 hopefully coming up momentarily here, folks. Draft should be underway. Viking versus OG. I'm curious what the big switch up will be for OG here coming into this. Like, they banned the Lina and Venge, I think, in their first 2.
Banning puck.
Ban puck for themselves.
We don't want to even think about it. We're banning it.
It's the Kuro strat. We'll just ban the Storm ourselves, then we don't have to pick it.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, bless. But no, I think you have to look towards just the openings that OG are going to be able to present right now. The bans coming out from Viking, it was the IO, the Magnus. They offered up Snapfire. And then outside of that, OG hasn't really had any other strong opening, especially on first pick, right? And OG are going to be second pick this time. So, okay, they're going to maybe see them offer up a hero just to force the draft, right? I think when you lose game 1, one of the best things that you can do is force the draft in allowing your opponent to have a hero that they're good at, just so that you know, okay, we know that the lean is going to come, for example. We know, this type of hero is going to come into play.
Wisp, perhaps. Let's see if I can actually leave that go through, because we have seen Nigma do fairly well against the Wisp with the AA pickup. That's like one of those heroes that's completely forgotten, but still can be used versus the Wisp.
Yeah, there it is. They ban out the Spectre.
The Spectre instead.
So this is a smart thing to do, because you force out the potential IO ban. If they don't ban it, you can pick it.
But there's a lot of big heroes left in here. Like, OG are kind of calling that bluff. We're going to ban Ench, so now you could pick from Lina, Venge, Void, Wisp, and the big 4.
Yeah, Venge is banned, but
Oh, I'm sorry, Venge got banned. Yeah. The other 2.
But Slardar, Bloodseeker, all of these heroes. I can go for the IO instead. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now let's see if OG can pull off what Kuro pulled off with Nigma. Can they actually counter this Wisp? Can they play fast enough against it? And what strategy will they actually involve versus Wisp? Because there's so many. And one of the things that you have to always think about is matching the farming speed that Wisp brings to his partner that he's always around with, right? And that he's going to be stacking for that position 1. And when you do see Wisp against you, you need to be thinking about heroes that can match up that farming pattern. Position 1 versus position 1.
So it was. Did you mention Enigma Lizard? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. They played the AA.
It was
right?
the Liquid. Well, so there were a couple. The Liquid versus Viking GG series. That was the one where Liquid played Enigma all 3 games, and the 2 games that Viking won were both games where they got Wisp. And I remember that game 3. That was the Wisp, Bloodseeker, Venge, Medusa, Puck lineup.
Oh yeah, I remember that game actually. Yeah.
Kind of slaughtered. That was that the 1 in 19 game. Actually, it might have been. Because they did have Storm on the side. Oh no, that was a different. That was the
no.
Storm.
That wasn't
totally different.
It wasn't
totally
that.
different. Yeah, so I got my wires crossed.
Nigma.
But the Medusa, they
that...
went 17-2-6 on Dusa that game with the Wisp.
Yeah. It was that game in which they just made Medusa this godlike hero that you couldn't touch, you couldn't approach.
Yeah.
By the way, I love Clock versus both of
Yep.
these. Versus Wisp,
Of
it's
course.
not that great, but versus Lina, Clock is just a godlike hero. You can always solo her throughout the game, so it's very nice.
When you
I was,
see ET
I was interested.
Clock, what do you think about positions right away with these two heroes?
Flexible in terms of ET, of course, with Seb could be offlane, could be 4 on Satsuka, and the Clock could easily be 5 or 4. I kind of have a vibe that's going to be like, it's just open, right? There's no point even trying to speculate, but it's just 3, 4, and 5. They can be flexed throughout.
Fair enough.
But mainly for the Clockwork pick, I thought they were going to go Clockwork straight away into the IO just because of how strong it is, especially with that tether. You can also stop relocate very easily. But no, they let one more hero come through, see the Lina, and then, like this is it is a very strong Clockwork pick.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see some core ET. I want to see him on the 3. All
It
things
needs
equal.
the right lane.
It needs the right lane.
Yeah.
All things equal. Just my inner fanboy. I like watching core ET. It's pretty fun.
You can see that they're banning out the Sven right now, so most likely we'll see all these good combos. Well, not all of them, but a couple of them go out. But when you're Viking GG right now, you have to be thinking, okay, we need a Wisp combination, but we also need a laner that's decent versus ET and Clockwork, or one of them at least, and that doesn't suffer versus ET's natural order. That's a big thing now. That opening from Elder Titan really makes you think about some of these heroes, because Morphling per se is not an option for you anymore.
Yeah.
Not picking
The thing is, though-
Terrorblade.
Yeah, the thing is though with Viking is they pair this IO in like different ways. So it has that laning threat of Toby playing the CK or this Bloodseeker, and you have that potential. Or they've suddenly slotted in that Leshrac mid, so you have that accelerant or that enable tankiness for the Leshrac. The other games where they're just pairing it with the carry, which is the Sven or Medusa. Like Viking have in their draft, they make sure that the IO can enable the offlane, but then it always pivots back into a position 1 or 2 activated from the core, because we see often nowadays that like IO Slardar, that is the pairing. If they have a bad lane, the game's kind of hard. Viking always cushion this IO pick with 2 cores. So I'm looking at CKs, Leshracs, Bloodseekers. These are Slardars as well. Like these are the main heroes for Viking to have that kind of double pairing.
It actually all started like a year ago or so when Wisp was pretty popular and picked, because most of these safe lane combos were really broken, and then they got nerfed. And then if you wanted to play Wisp, you had to roll him on one offlane because your safe lane would be crushed. Like Wisp Gyro isn't nearly as strong right now as it used to be. That combination was hardly matched by anyone on the offlane. It doesn't matter what you picked, but it's not the same any longer. And usually you have to think about some offlane combos.
Very thoughtful second banning phase here. OG now in the reserve time.
They're discussing Bloodseeker ban or not. That's what I'm currently thinking they're talking about. Because every time they've had IO and Viking, the most dominant games have been the IO Bloodseeker, and then paired with this like hard carry that just laps up the free space.
And it's really good with Lina too, right? If you do play Lina on the offlane together with Bloodseeker, that lane is crazy strong throughout the game. It's good too, but they go with the Void as well. I think why the Void is actually banned out is, first and foremost, you have Lina. Wisp is all right with him, nothing crazy, but all right. But these bans, like this PA ban and Pugna ban, kind of gives it away in which direction they want to go. And you just get rid of that.
There's the Enigma.
We got Enigma. All right.
OG Enigma.
Okay, this is a obviously the IO counter back in the day, because of course you just black hole the fella. There's no BKB piercing stuns right now, but Viking, they have 3 more picks to cover themselves from the threat of what an Enigma can provide. The way in which you look at OG's heroes, a little bit of early pressure, early pickoff, but fundamentally they are going to be playing on the let Viking run into us, and then we'll just dominate them in that, the ET reset the fight, the black hole on top. But it is punishable for sure.
I think the ET pick now should be relegated to position 5. Yeah. And when I say relegated, I don't think it's that bad for them, because you picked it versus a Wisp. ET on 5 hates heroes that he cannot hit, he cannot reach, that slow him or impair his attack speed. Your Venomancers, your Phoenixes, whatever the hell. Wisp combos don't have that. Like, they never do. And now you will have like 100% certainty that you will hit 2 heroes with that Astral Spirit. You'll get that, plus 100 damage on level 3, and that lane should be pretty solid. Plus, you have a combo of Enigma plus Clockwork on the offlane, which work really well together too.
Yeah, it frees up the Clockwork to play his game, right? That's like the best way of thinking about these type of offlaners. And Viking, like, this is the big fear for OG's draft, is it looks good for the fights, but how you get to that point and you can fight. It is a greedy lineup in terms of where's the early damage? It's non-existent. They're relying on now their position 1 and 2 to come into play. And then Viking, they're like, all right, cool. All we have to do again is the exact same game plan. Have strong lanes. If we go even, we can still pressure. We can go Roshan. We don't care if you're going to have this better, like, scaling threat of a black hole. We're just going to end the game again. They're just going to go all out aggression.
Yeah. I love the Beastmaster here. Exactly what you just said. He comes online early. BKB Piercer for the Enigma. Great vision game for the Wisp, and also just against the Clockwork and Enigma. This Beastmaster feels perfect here, given what they need.
Like you took everything out of my mouth perfectly. Just
I'm so
perfect.
sorry,
So
Lizzie.
No, it's fine. I'll just add that slow from the boards can be annoying for ET in the lane too.
Yep.
That's my small addition.
There we go.
But
That's a little
but
bit
for
of
real,
flavor
like,
at the end.
yeah. But
Chef
it
Lacoste,
forces Enigma into a different kind of a build, and
Monkey King. Interesting. That's it's a bit greedy. Like, I don't mind it for like the idea of a lane, but it's still, in theory, is very greedy because the itemization that you see in Monkey Kings is like Ags +1 normally, unless they want to go super early, and it's not providing anything to deal with that push potential. And now Viking, they're going for gyro. Ooh, you got the Shad Gyrocopter.
Whoa,
That is
Gyro Wisp.
We don't see it a lot,
Yeah.
but this fella, he's a very mean gyrocopter. And now, what's OG going to provide? This Monkey King, he doesn't stand up to any of this early magic damage. And my fear is, I think the Monkey King pick, it was of course a flex pick to cover themselves from like a potential DK mid or any of these kind of mid pushing heroes. But then Viking just go, we just pick Gyro, lads. We're just going to go back to the old playbook of what's actually, still strong for early pressure.
Yeah,
I really love their draft.
I do too. Yeah,
Love the Vikings. Yeah.
Like Enigma, Eidolons. What's pretty good against that? Flat Cannon. I'll take some of that extra gold, please.
Right now,
Perfect.
you just put the Lina mid to prevent the Monkey v mid matchup, and then you pick up a position 4 that can either A, skip waves because Monkey King might have too much pressure against Beastmaster, or B, a ranged hero to apply pressure to the Monkey King if it's like an ET support that can't provide as much to help.
One thing for Viking right now is I feel they're spoiled by choices. Do you want to put Lina mid, or do you want to have her on position 4? I think it still might be a little bit safer to put her on 4 because you're playing versus a clock, and the game can be ruined for a Lina if a Clockwork has a good start. And this, Beastmaster aside, this is still a sick clock game. If he gets good items early on,
That's true.
like Gyrocopter really suffers against him. Same goes for Lina. If you put Lina as a core as well, you have 2 cores that you can pick and choose from. Or if you buy an Aghanims, you can pretty much delete both of them from the game as a position 4 clock.
So what's the ideal mid for Viking then? They are going to have to pick 9th instead of 10th. They did go back for that puck last time they had a somewhat similar lineup.
I think you have to look towards the fact that Viking, even though their draft looks good for entry into laning and then opening up the game, they still don't have like that many stuns, right? They've got a Raw to deal with the Enigma. They've got maybe an LSA, but they don't have cheap stuns to throw out. And that's where OG, they can play around that. They can poke and prod and look for these early fights. They're probably not going to have much map control, but then we're going to see like the big turnaround moment, the black hole, high ground defense, and the game's back in its favor, right? Because BKB's come up for OG and they can actually fight the gyrocopter. But for Viking, I'd like to see some type of control from the mid lane. The issue is Monkey King can easily be flexed there, and like a Kunkka mid doesn't feel too great, right? Like these melee controlling heroes, there's a Monkey King still being flexed from OG. The other thing is you could just go all out aggression and go for like a quap or something just to try and punish the fact there's no hard lockdown on OG either.
Oh, that could
Could be, a boom classic, but then again, it's like they're all inning on just dumps during the game. To be fair though, they did dumps to the first game, so they're pretty confident. They could roll that strat.
Yeah. And Shadow Demon.
Nice. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Why stun the black hole when you can just, disrupt the guy who's getting black holed?
Yeah, true.
Not my favorite save versus black hole, right?
It's an example, right? It's an example.
You're still
reset.
disrupted. Yeah, you still hold.
Okay,
there,
so
but
it's Thompson
alright.
Invoker, so it'll be safe lane Monkey King for mid one. Okay.
I'm just wondering, is Clock going to be 4 or is Enigma going to be 4? Which one of these two? I'm just waiting to see OG.
I think they're discussing that right now.
Yeah.
They
Surely
don't know
Enigma
either.
has to be the offlane, right? I feel like if he goes
It doesn't
for...
have to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be because of the game. Because of if you look at Clockwork's game, it could be fantastic if he has a good start, good
guess that's
items
true.
coming from the laning stage. But Seb, Enigma, I think more likely.
That's what I'm kind of rolling on
Clockwork.
right now. Okay, Seb,
There we
Enigma,
go.
yeah. I feel
Seb,
like
yeah.
the Clockwork angle is great. So it's okay. So Clockwork 5, they pushed that all the way further down. Okay, sure. I think
Very
so. More
interesting.
importantly, it's going to be the offlane Enigma can be independent, so it is going to free up at some point the Clockwork and the ET to try and enable the Monkey King lane, because I think this Monkey King needs to have a good game to play into the Aya gyro. Vikings lineup is amazing at just when you look at it on paper, what they bring to a fight, the saves, the damage, the rush, everything. They have everything ticked, but they can find issues running up into a farmed Enigma, a farmed Monkey King trying to pressure high ground. And the same again, like if OG are making the jumps, then Viking can fall victim. But I think the way that Viking play with their aggression, they're not going to give OG that space on the map to find that evenly distributed farm you need to kind of activate all the cores on OG. So yeah, I think Viking, just from game one and what they have in this second game draft, it's there. Like,
Yeah. Lizard?
They went with, I mean, OG went with full comfort zone. If this isn't OG, I don't know what is. Like Saxa on ET, you have Invoker, you have Monkey King.
that's true.
I'll lean a little bit to OG because this is completely their draft, no matter what they're playing against. So.
Right, like, how many people do you think Seb will catch in a black hole this game? 1 through to 5 prediction. How many heroes? Hypest will be, of course, 5, and then them just losing is like 0.
3.
3. Lizard.
Middle.
How many people in a
3
black hole?
sounds alright. As long as he catches that Beastmaster a couple of times, that's all that matters.
Such safe political answers. All right.
He's playing it too safe. All right, folks, remember you can find the odds for the
5.
winning teams from our partner, EGB, by the banner below the stream. We'll see if we see a 5-man black hole. The first Monkey King of the tournament, Killer Pigeon, Pie Cat. Take it, gentlemen.
You know, if there's anything I've learned over the years of getting many participation ribbons, Cat, it's not how you finish, it's how you improve. And if there's anything that we can say from game one, it's the OG set a low bar to like surpass, and Viking maybe set themselves an unattainable stomp to kind of repeat. But do you think maybe this is the draft that can do even better than the game one?
I mean, I think it doesn't really matter, you know, in what fashion you win, as long as you win. You know, if you win a slugfest of 70 minutes where, you know, you were losing the entire game and you managed to win, it's the same as if you're beating someone with, you know, 30-5. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just winning is what you care about. I mean, potentially in you know, when it's not TI, some teams, they can, you know, play tournaments and just kind of play them as a more serious practice. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, but I think the thing is like this. I quite like Vikings lineup. I like it really a lot for them as well. It's just I feel like OG is the type of team where you're just like, well, they've just given this away, you know, it looked really bad last game, and, you know, you want to count them out. I feel like that's when they always do really well, so...
When they're seen as the underdog, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
with how that game one went, how else could you feel about them? Like, that was quite the obliteration. I guess the other element is, you know, usually when we see a team get beat down that hard, we go, oh, man, I wonder what the team morale is like. We know OG don't get affected by that.
Yeah, they're already... swinging away. Quite a bit of damage though coming out of the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because that boar is slowing down mid one so much that you're trying to focus out Toby, but that just frees up Aramis to stand inside and just press a button on repeat. Everybody's got their sticks though.
It's not super fun to play this double melee lane into this Shadow Demon, I think. Also with the boars, obviously, it's gonna be quite easy at some point to just continuously stack up these poisons. It's going to be a bit scary for OG here in the safe lane.
The mid lane, I don't think we expect anything other than Boom to start building an early lead. Hopefully the difference being this time around that we see some more Godson and not so many deaths on this boat.
Yeah, I mean, Invoker is one of his sort of go-tos. It's always been that way, so I expect Thompson to do, you know, he should be fine. Of course, Lina is slightly favored in the matchup, but we'll see, you know. Maybe we get a Godson this game.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that there's maybe not as much pressure on them to completely dominate lanes, right? I feel like when you look at OG's heroes, it's more about surviving the laning phase and then doing something afterwards with your big spell.
Yeah. And you know who knows? You know, and they do get the first blood in the safe lane. I mean, in the off lane here, OGs.
Silence is golden.
Not someone you can easily pick off, so is the IO. And that's something we haven't even talked about yet, is we're seeing IO Gyro. Gyro, a hero that seems to have been out of meta for quite a while now after a ridiculously long spree at the top with the IO combo.
Yeah, I feel like this IO Gyro, it always comes back, unless Gyro is just completely out of it. But I feel like he never really is when you have IO. You know, the hero just complements you so well. It just makes you so much stronger. It's the hero that probably benefits the most from IO. Just continuously being able to play really quickly and all over the map, I think.
Well, I was going to say, the Gyro, do you think part of it was because there is this risk of the black hole and Gyro is the type of hero who can build the Ags, so even if you're stunned inside there, you've still got damage output?
I don't think they picked it so much for the maybe in the later stages, but it should be quite good against the Enigma in the lane. Once you get a few points in flak, you can't kill the Eidolons.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that. They're already with them down.
Celery,
Sax's going to move in to punish this, though.
Might be in trouble.
Oh, damage! That's level 2. That's not a level 3 ET. You put 1 point in the natural order. That's just him going 1 punch. I feel like once you get level 3, you should be able to kill this IO very easily, given the 3 we just had.
No, for sure. IO is very susceptible to dying in this lane. Just the Malphis and...
Aramis is gone. Not enough to kill off Notail either. They did get him to 4 poison stacks, but it seems they've identified what they need to do in this lane. Don't chase Toby, chase Aramis.
Yeah, it's much harder for him to play when they're running at the Shadow Demon. Of course, he's not as tanky either. So, kind of identifying the big damage dealer in that lane.
Oh, thank you, other casters, for letting us all know that for some reason Seb has... There we go, he's figured it out. Apparently had the Null Talisman in the backpack for a while, so that was really good.
Right.
I just love it when you kind of have things pinged from other casters about context, like Aramis has Crunch, or X person has Tango. Like, what do you mean, other caster? Oh, mid one. It's gone. Get the lifesteal out in time, and now... Oh, no, Tail, no. Tail, no health. Gets brought down. Double kill for Toby. And he's got salve, so it doesn't really hurt his laning at all.
No, and I think the early book in this game could be quite scary. I'm happy he's not going for the double bracer build here. You know, kind of trying to man fight the Monkey King is generally not a recipe for success as a melee hero, unless you're Ursa.
Sorry, I got distracted by Celery just body blocking Saxa the entire time to go in both rooms. And this guy's feeling himself. I just love watching Celery. It's like, this guy plays with so much confidence out the 5. Last game it was that whole baiting in the camp with the Dark Troll Summoner. And now it's just like the cruising on by body blocks against the ET that usually can threaten to beat your ass to death if you get in his way.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this is OG are actually not really respecting Viking that much, I would say. They're giving away this Enchantress and the IO to Celery. I think is two sort of most commonly played and comfortable heroes. I think Viking have a lot of success with those heroes.
They're not really intercepting any attempts to stack either, so Celery's like making the most of the situation. Of course, you can argue an ET can use all those stacks to his advantage, but I don't know if you can on this lane. It feels like you're always going to have to maybe stick close to Seb in case they try and jump it.
Yeah, they also have to know about the stacks, so... Step
Hey,
one.
you're playing against Viking. If you don't believe they're going to stack every single goddamn game, you fall into the trap. I think Viking were kind of like the first team on it when stacking started coming back in that was really obsessed with the idea of just bulking up and jumping for goals.
Yeah, so Saxa is gonna ward this area. He did spot the... I mean, at this point it's just 2 double stacks, I believe. So.
Yeah, it's just 2 double stacks, but that should flip up as... I think maybe they're kind of waiting so Shad's at a point where he can be self-sustained in the lane. Of course, now there's always that threat that Seb could just black hole you though.
Yeah, this bottom lane though...
Hard to sneak
it's interesting. Mid one already level 6. No-Tail has given him quite a lot of solo experience here. And they're gonna go on Toby. No boots on No-Tail though. And these boars are proving quite annoying for mid one. He does
We'll get
manage
rid
to
of
bring them down.
Is
But
it because
this
the
is a
damage
third
may be
spec,
done
though.
here? Yep. Ooh, no, they turn on the No-Tail. They say that's the easier target instead. With the poison. Will tick off. No, he gets a new one on the mid one.
Though.
He needs the lifesteal. He does get it. He needs to
He
target now.
misses the
No-Tail's
poison.
low. Second time. And that means No-Tail isn't going to die. He's going to turn on to Aramis and they'll just leap forward on top of him. Barrier Assault clipping onto him means they will kill Aramis.
Yeah, I think Aramis, he missed those two poisons, or I don't know if it was 2 or 3, but he missed those poisons. And oh, he managed the quelling.
Oh, he was randomly guessing for a while, then he saw him leap through the trees, and with that rotation, Boom gets a big gold influx.
Yeah, it's also very useful for Toby. He's gonna get to 6. He's got the book flying out now, and now all of a sudden I think the lane becomes a little bit difficult to Monkey to stay in. I think you need to bring a sort of a third hero to this. In anticipation of the Beastmaster using Roar and his book to try to kill the Monkey King, you want to be bringing a third hero down here so that you can kind of make this counterplay when the Beastmaster uses Roar and his book. And if you don't get a kill with that, then Beast feels very sad all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Unless
and the other thing,
mid one could also just be the one rotating himself.
yeah, maybe that was the plan, because Monkey King is that type of hero. You go to a lane, you get your jingle, you make a kill happen, and you just kind of try and snowball, right? You try and jump through the trees to another kill and another one. Now they're looking for some kills. They knew they were going to come over this farm stack. Shad in a bit of trouble, so level 3 Ios, there's no real way to save him. Pulse button. Oh, Toby? Okay. He thought maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to save him, but you can see when he threw out that proper roar, it was already far too late, and they don't hesitate to commit the black hole for that pickoff to easily secure the stacks.
Yeah, and I think it was a pretty bad idea by Toby there. I think you exert much more pressure by staying in this bottom lane with your book, and you're a Beastmaster without boots, now a Beastmaster without boots, and TP, and Necrobook. You're gonna have to do the Walk of Shame back to the bottom lane. Even if you came there, you know, you were never gonna save the gyro, and so trying to get some sort of counter kill in your own jungle, it's not very useful. Pressuring this bottom lane would have been much more efficient for the Beastmaster. So kind of shooting himself in the foot there.
And you have to be careful, because both these teams said that they both like this kind of run-at-you style of Dota, where they make one mistake and those snowball quickly. Lycan right now maybe making the bigger critical mistakes. They're at least able to secure the CS, and Boom not able to find Thompson. Gets Invis in time. Laguna was committed as well. Boom just have to sneak off back to the runes. We'll find a haste rune, so likely we'll see Lina rotating again soon.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Shad's found his new home. The problem with that is, like, now that you've shifted to the jungle, mid one has a free lane in the top, so that worry about the beast in his book is now just being dodged out. Look,
Yeah, and
oh no. He gets caught in the cogs. A jump forward on top of him. LSA does come out in time. Io's going to be there. Just in the nick of time to maybe save him. EMP needs to get out of range and able to move away. Thompson is hunting though. The cold snap still running. Celery trying to save the day. And Boom. No, he might tick out here. He's got the very fire, but it's still on cooldown. He tried to switch it from the backpack too late.
I think he died with like there was like a 2 or 3 HP margin, I think there. He died on the last tick of the urn. And his Fairy Fire wasn't... I don't think his Fairy Fire nor wand was ready.
No, he was switching it out because it was in the backpack. I think he still has 4 seconds left at that point. A clutch kill. And now with that haste rune gone, like Viking, when they're up, what's their move here? Because your Io is still only level 4. So there's no cheeky reload play that's going to happen in the next 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, you really want to get this IO to level 6. You see already that the gyro is suffering in terms of levels quite heavily. Also, gold, same thing goes there. And all of OG's scores they're finding what they want here. Seb's already queuing up the Blink Dagger as his first item.
And do you think this comes back to that interception of the stacks, right? Where OG obviously got more XP out of it. Without those extra stacks, you know, if that was there, Celery's probably at 6 by now. Shad's probably up at 8. And then they're looking at a rotation of their own. They are rotating still, though. They find Seb.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
playing. They should secure the bot tower for Vikings, so now they can actually get a little bit of extra gold in the pocket of the gyro.
Yeah, some much needed kill there for Viking. There's gonna be a quick smoke though by OG. I think this was spotted by wards and heroes. They're
Go in though, they'll still find
some.
something. Aramis has the disruption. They'll find a little bit of time. See if we can run this one off though. Just chase him down. The battery assault there, he's gone.
And they're gonna be able to protect this bottom tower. And mid one has queued up the Battle Fury here. So going for that, you know, more carry-heavy position 1 Monkey King build.
Yeah, because we've been seeing a lot of Ags on Monkey Kings recently, because it helps speed up your farm, right? But it also has maybe more aggressive use than a Battle Fury.
Yeah, the thing is, he is the kind of real position 1 in this game, though. So it's understandable to some extent that he wants to go for this Battle Fury. You want to have one hero that fully scales, you know, as a kind of a right-clicking, a physical DPSer.
Thompson's gone for more stuns. You don't need to have in this game. Seeing a lot more on the odd core here and there, just giving that extra like accelerant, take down towers, of course the stats are good as well. I guess you do have the means of holding in place to hit the meteor hammer as well.
Yeah, I mean, OG have some very, very good control in this game. They've got the ET, they have the Clockwork, they have Invoker Enigma, all of these heroes with massive control.
Some less controls coming in to play. Aramis gets the disruption out again to dodge out the EMP. Boom is here. LSA just about clips on the no-tail, but Monkey can arrive, the black hole comes out. They'll turn 1 kill into 2. They've got damn magicians here. Once again, getting some high-value targets out of that black hole. That was the blink reveal, but every time Vikings step up, being pushed back.
Yeah, and I really like what Seb is doing here with the black hole. He's just, whenever he sees a core or any hero that just walks up, he just immediately jumps and just uses the black hole. And I think it's definitely the right approach at this point of the game. You don't need to rely on hitting some, you know, big black holes. Just see a hero, you can kill him and go for it. You know, just get that cooldown going and get the free kill. It's an efficient way to play in this early game.
I think right now the panel's like, crap, did we say you get a 5-man black hole? I don't think he's going to wait for a 5-man black hole. Ooh, hook shot in. Still clips on the Toby, even though it hits the creep. The initial stun is good enough to trap in the Yelly Man. He does throw out the primary roll. Will be reload out. Do they want to fight this, though, is the question, because OG are already stacking up. The Enigma is not here. Of course, they don't have black hole. Oh, should be thrown out in the no-tail. LSA does clip. The stomp's going to come out. The Earth split on the free. Hit that 4. Boom. Able to move away in time and disrupt dodge out gyro. Because of that, OG will back away. Maybe Viking now push towards the tower, but they seem still very, very hesitant to enter Radiant territory.
Yeah, the issue kind of for Viking right now is this gyro he's very low level. I mean, he's been partnered up with the IO, and you know, since the early game got slowed down quite a bit, even farming these ancient stacks, it's gonna take a while. He needs to get to the Sags, and then some before he can, you know, properly become a hero.
I guess another part, right, is when you're looking at the way this combo wants to play, they want to be off in the jungle. Yeah, they're divvying up XP, but then they can rotate. They can join in a fight. They can find a pickup. But usually that relies on their opponents being split. And it seems like OG, most of the time, are pretty stacked up. So it's almost like Viking can't find that pickup opportunity that their draft is kind of designed for.
I mean, OG are pretty much using the buddy system. Thompson is sort of a free agent, but you can see that they're always playing in the vicinity of one another. See, now they're gonna leave the monkey behind. He's gonna fall back a little bit, and Thompson is gonna be able to kind of rotate towards the bottom. They're all kind of playing in close proximity, so they are able to help out one another.
Seems to be counting around Viking style of playing. They are a team that they like this idea of kind of out-mobilizing their opponents, right? They play wide on the map to exploit it. That's why they look so lethal whenever they get their hands on iron.
Yeah, and the easiest way kind of to counter it is you know, first do well in lane, but then also just play together, just stick together, group up, and
Always been moving towards something, right? Never look like you're kind of slowing down. That's something we know OG have mastered in the past is this idea of never letting up the pressure, as now they're just looking to siege down this tier 1. Toby shows he'll be in trouble because they are smoked up behind top 2. Instead they TP mid, they see an opportunity mid 1 in trouble though, hit up by the Purge. He can't get the lifesteal quick enough, he's going to be brought down, so a 1-for-1 exchange, but now there might be
Thompson
punishment
in the
bot.
bottom lane.
Beastmaster goes in, Toby low on mana, did use the Primal Roar here. Tom's going to connect, but the reload in. They do see Thompson. They're chasing forward onto him. The homing missile is going to pursue, but it's going to be too slow. Zaxa does sidestep the LSA in the meantime with the drums. Looking to run away from Boom. Will distract him from the entirety of this. No tell here. Can no longer continue to pursue Thompson. Hook shot. Ooh. Oh. He'll still be fine, it looks like. Reinforcements are coming. That whiff on the hook shot will not cause Dotel his death. Get out.
Yeah, they managed to find the mid one, which is of course quite the big pick. He's the most farm hero.
And he just completed Battlefield as well, so that's going to be a little bit of a rough experience. But now that he has it, he can begin to accelerate. I guess the real concern is that he's already ahead of Shad, who is a gyro with an IO in this game.
Yeah, he's just gonna find his eggs now though, so his farming should pick up a little bit here, and he's going into this BKB next. But I do feel that this gyro, he needs quite a few more items before he really becomes sort of anything in this game here.
They might be forced to do with what they have though at this rate. COG, they're kind of squaring up the go again. They have got the black hole. So, you know, at least with that Axe that Shad has, you mentioned, he can now dish out a little bit of damage, but these right clicks don't really spook Seb. Again, it's just a case of like, where can Viking strike? As you saw Toby, he was trying to find a snipe out on Thompson, but Thompson so far has been incredibly elusive. 3-0-3 on this game at this point.
Yeah, he's sort of redeeming himself from that last one. He's like, don't give me Punk anymore, just give me Invoker, you know. Back to the Thompson of old.
That does sound good, considering that would be a Thompson's 1-2 TIs. Get that type of performance in this one is at least off to a good start in this game. Makes me wonder if we just get kind of like this very diplomatic gentleman's agreement to go farm for the next 10 minutes where neither team finds a big pick, who profits more?
OG, definitely. I mean, they have the Enigma uncountered this game. There's a Roar, but you know, at some point you get a Lincoln's, get your BKB, refresher, etc. This Enigma is... He's going to be able to use Black Hole freely, and that's going to be a very big issue for Viking. They need to be the ones kind of pushing the tempo in this one, which is very difficult to do when you are behind.
You're relying a lot on Boom in that situation, but as the panel mentioned, this is not the easiest arena games, right? If you think about the heroes you're up against, if you misstep once, you're just gonna disappear.
Yeah, even if you don't misstep, you know, you still might just be the victim of a Monkey King or Clockwork or Invoker, random flying spells. Just a very difficult arena game indeed. That BKB is a must, pretty much.
Exactly, he's committing into this kind of right-click idea as the game goes on though. So BKB and then he's got MKB queued up after that. That's maybe one advantage they could have in that late game is, yeah, there's these black holes, but in terms of your physical output, you're going to be very reliant on mid one to do all of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, potentially Thompson can start to scale, you know, semi-scale with the Alacrity talent at level 20, but it's quite far away. And
yeah, and usually you just kind of, we see a lot of invokers, they choose to kind of go about a route of buffing up their real carry, right? Oh, no, Aramis. A little free meal found, keeps 4 seconds out on the TP. Well, you can at least look at it as wasted time for OG as they don't find any bigger pick in the meantime.
I think Aramis has tanked like, what, 4 or 5 hooks this game. He's just constantly the target
Bodyguard.
from no tail.
Maybe soon we'll see Viking actually look to get aggressive themselves, because Toby almost has the Blink Dagger, and the BKB is just one component out for Shad, and I feel like that might be their go time, right, where they have to try and make a move. Or, as you mentioned, OG with this uncounted Enigma are going to scale better.
Yeah, and you look at what Seb has already queued up, also being up there in the net worth. I mean, he's doing a very good job at just keeping up with the farm. He's got the Blink BKB. No need for this mech type of build against these heroes, you know. Just you're not gonna sustain through all the damage anyways. Just go for this Blink Black Hole. You get the Lincolns and you are uncountered. You don't anymore have to rely on.
They found him. Oh, nice Philo out. Big time dodger. That Enigma you mentioned, he's on his way. He wants to see him slip up here and he wants to capitalize on it. Io's come back in a sec. Purge is thrown out in the mid one, but the timing will stun up and kill off Io. The cooldown. BKB got forced out of Seb though. Meanwhile, they will find Toby on the other side of the fight while all that's happening. So they're so busy poking and prodding at Seb, they're so reluctant to get hard. Ends up costing them a second kill inside of Vikings. That might cost them more. Meteor Hammer. Ba-dum. Straight into Boom's face. The chase forward, Boundless Strike. The long stick is able to hit. The movement forward disrupted buys maybe 2 more seconds, but Lena's in trouble. She's gone. Guys trying to pressure. It's just, like you mentioned it before, Gyro, it feels like he's so many items off being at a point where he matters, where OG actually cares about him in these fights.
Yeah, and OG are starting to give them, you know, some sort of a kind of a revenge. Yeah, for that last game. You can see Thompson obviously having a great game so far. He's been involved in 11 out of his 15 kills. He's got the axe, the Meteor Hammer.
Yeah, I'm liking this Meteor Hammer on Invoker more than the Tide Hunters with Symbol. Definitely getting a lot of value out of this one. Quick rush. They're going to be too late to try and intercept this at all. They are smoked up, but there's no way in hell you're getting in the pit quick enough. And the Black Hole's still available. It's the big threat that's got to scare you.
And you gotta
slow down a bit.
Roche.
And you go in, Primal Roar thrown out. Found the strike. A gets picked up by mid one, and Toby, for all his attempts, will fall here. Oh no, Seb! That wasn't the quickest cancel of the Black Hole. We definitely all saw that. He'll go for a TP away. A lot of damage from the creeps, but not enough to kill him off. Thompson is, however, left behind. With the dust reveal, he's going to fall to Shad. And they will just zone out and force themselves away from mid one before he can have any impact. The Wukong's is down, but Laguna hits hard. BKB gets activated. Shad is out of the arena, though. No tail, stand his ground against this. A lot of heals coming out from Celery. Will find one kill mid one. Can't get the Boundless on the 2. Moves forward to the Boomers disruption. Dodges it out, and Aramis is going to live, but mid one going down the once, and it looks like maybe twice. They've got LSA. They'll zone away the reinforcements to make sure there's no ET stomp, and they will stomp mid one's face into the dirt.
Yeah, finally they managed to get this good fight. I like Shad's kind of maneuvering in that fight there. He runs in, baits out the Black Hole from Seb, just walks back out again. They immediately, I mean, they start the fight by killing Thompson. And I'm almost surprised he didn't kind of try a buybacker there or something. But yeah, I mean, they take a very nice fight. They managed to get lit one twice there, wasting one of his BKB charges.
Maybe Thompson thought most of my useful spells are on cooldown. I don't know if I want to do this right now. Seb, on. And then this is how you start to cripple OG. We said Viking want pickoffs, and when you hemorrhage kills and you come in slow like this, that's what's going to happen. No tail, the hook shot to interrupt the stun follow-up, but Sax is already dead. They might lose more here. No tail. In the trees, trying to move away. The creep's going to chase onto him. Thompson fighting with a Shadow Demon +4 right now, and he's just about winning, but the reinforcements coming in means it's going to be a trade, and a bad one at that. There's 3 more heroes fall for the side of OG, and all that costs Viking or Aramis' life. They might find more if you're not careful. I mean, No Tail, if he shows in this mid lane, this was the thing we talked about. Both sides are like this. If they see one sign of weakness, they will not let up.
Yeah, and Aramis, he's already sitting at 8. That's, you know, 7 prior to this. You know, it's what's another one gonna do, really? They managed to get a kill on they killed Thompson twice now in a time span of just, you know, a little over a minute. Well, plus the time it takes for him to respawn. Yeah, they're starting to find some very important kills here onto all the cores. And Gyro now he's going for this basher here, which is quite interesting, because this is going to be one way that you can cancel this Black Hole. You know, if the Enigma is jumping and there are no kind of creeps in there, then it's quite likely that you are going to get bashed at some point.
And if there's a Black Hole going on, a lot of their heroes don't really want to go in it as well, right, to hit the targets. Usually it'll be the Monkey King and the rest are like set back in case something goes wrong. So likely he will get those bashes. Autopilot mode, I like to call it. I'm black hole anyway. Might as well just let the AI do it for me. Now all of a sudden Chad is quite spooky. You know, he's got 2k HP, he's got the BKB, he's always got the IO, and I guess the real question is like, how does OG kind of pierce to the back line here?
Saxa, he's gonna get it. He steals the Paladin Sword.
Oh.
That's a very, very big item for... I mean, it would have been a huge item for Viking, but now it's gonna be on for OG instead.
It's an amazing pass me down as well, right? Like when Shad decides he doesn't want it anymore, you stick it on Celery. That's even more regen, but now that's going to be a big pain in the ass. And maybe, yeah, the Monkey King even has it in his possession now. Prime War's going to come out. Thompson, whoopsie.
5 heroes.
All right, how long was he alive that time before he died? I think he was at least alive over a minute.
I think that was more like 2 at least.
Respectable. He's improving. Although his net worth is not, as he's almost behind the Beastmaster now. He's been having quite the awkward game, but in the last few fights, Toby, I mean, he's been the simple initiation, right? I remember the panel was saying that they may be concerned about the not cheap stunts, but these high-value stunts are working out. Toby does get hook shots, but oh no, Seb! He does the same thing again! Shad just sidesteps the black hole, and Shad will chase in. He says blood must be spilt for that mistake. Mid-one will just TP away. No bash is going to be there, but doesn't really matter. Everything again from OG, and Shad, he's found the counter to Enigma. You just click away from him. It's that simple.
Yeah, twice now he's just kind of walked out of the black hole range. He's baiting Cataclysm, and I've got to do all that much, and Thompson might be trouble again. That was not a minute. That was way less, and now it's all of a sudden Viking who are on the up and up.
Did they just try, did you try for an end here is what I'm thinking, because there's no black hole anymore, there's no Wukong, there's nothing on the side of OG. I think they might just. They
are just going to go for it here. I think this is very difficult to do against the ET Clockwork. You're going to get spammed down quite a bit, but...
They're dodging out. I mean, after they dodged the Cataclysm, but now they can't dodge the hook shot. LSA comes down to no-tail, though. He's the one who gets punished. And they'll move forward instead. BKB will achieve nothing as they'll run him down with the clicks. They know he has nothing to threaten, and the Primal will ensure that he can't run away. Mid-one, he wishes this fight was on the sides, but the trees are, so he can move in. He looks on the Celery, does get the lifesteal up, kills off the ball. Aramis gets left behind. Buybacks are coming out, and Celery looks to arrive in the fight once more.
I think you just really want to get out here. I feel like this buyback from Celery was completely unnecessary. You forced the buyback from Seb. You dealt a lot of damage to these tier 4s, which is going to be quite uncomfortable for OG here, and you are completely in the driver's seat of this game now.
It feels like things have really kind of switched in terms of pressure for Seb, right? You mentioned early on, any target's a good target for the black holes. Now, we're in a situation where if he doesn't get a godly redemption black hole, we could just see Viking go for the juggler to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, now he has to deal with both Chad and Toby here. There is now the Abyssal onto the Gyrocopter. I think a very interesting build here. They are going to find Toby.
That's exactly. They are going to find him. Now the question is, this was the kind of downfall of OG's lead. 1-by-1 pickoffs. Can OG return the favor? Boom. Able to move away with the BKB. Cataclysm's off the mark. Shout with the BKB. Turns around though. They bring down 2 already. Both supports on OG dead. Mid-one. The Abyssal stops the Wukongs. They've lost 4. They might lose 5. They ping where Seb is. They're hunting forward for him. They're just going to make sure he has no easy TP out as they hit him up with the poison. BKB TP out attempt. One bash would do it. No bashes though at all. But I mean, what's it for? You know, you've managed to get your big black hole out, but you are truly now one fight away from losing this game.
No, for sure. Roche kind of will be the next point for these two teams to fight around. Of course, the bash only being a measly, is it 10% for range heroes? I want to say.
Yeah,
one in 10. That's
well, I
pretty sad
melee
numbers.
Heroes. Well, the Abyssal has just proven the downfall of mid-one completely. I mean, if you can't even get your Wukongs out in these fights, is it even possible to survive against the right clicks of Viking.
No, and I like the fact that Shad is he's not going for the standard kind of MKB, satanic, whatever it is. He's just queues up the Abyssal.
The stun. Seb, that's not good. He can't afford to go down. The black hole will not be used. He's just going to die, and that's his dieback. He's gone for 85, and Viking find the exact pick they need to look to close this game as they'll move into OG's base. And on to those tier 4s. We may have just ended up arriving at the 2-0 ending of this. Mid 1 gets the Wukongs down. Split through, drags one in, the cuts around all over the place. Toby doesn't know if it's coming or going. Now he's going down for 70. Buyback will come out though. Can arrive in the fight. Sax has got the magic immunity for the moment, but boom, zaps one up. Mid 1 able to survive midway for the moment. Saxa doesn't have the same liberty. He's going to be ran down. They'll hunt for more. Abyssal is out. They'll be able to find the Invoker. Mid 1 can only hide in the trees and watch his throne dies. He jumps in on top of Shad. BKB activated with the Alacrities. Well, they snipe out Boom. It's a good pick, but they need more. They're trying to force them away. Maybe they can get them off the throne, but it's low on HP, and Shad wants to finish this right here and right now. Mid 1 being duked out. Iceball's going to go down. He needs more damage, but is it going to be enough? Hook shot in on Aramis. Does control him up. Mid 1 trying to do the damage. Now being kited out himself. Will turn on a Shad. Force the fight up against him. Is being brought low. Does get the lifesteal just in time, but Toby arrives to back this up. The prone will push away. It's enough. Flyback comes out. Monkey King bursts in the world, but the throne is too low, and Viking will stun him up to make sure they can round out this game with a 2-0 victory over the Kings of Dota's OG4.
Yeah, I mean, Viking now taking down Secret 2-0, taking down OG 2-0, and in a very Viking-esque fashion, I would say as well. You know, we did talk about how the Viking, they tend to favor these 25 to 35-minute games. Both these games with some very quick-paced drafts. Even falling behind quite a bit in that early game, they still managed to bounce back on the back of this Shad gyrocopter, which I feel like I've seen so many times now. This guy, he seems to deliver, very very nicely on this hero, and just he continues to do so.
It's the impressive part about it as well, is like this isn't one of those flashy type heroes you think of, right? The gyrocopter. It's not like you can say, oh yeah, he's got all the combos right. He's duking them out. He's very elusive. But what it's coming down to, you mentioned it in one of those Roche fights, is his positioning. He's so good at the way he positions and moves around these fights, even up against things like the Black Hole, the Stomp from the ET as well. But honestly, wow, impressive.
Yeah,
Viking,
and Seb there, he didn't really manage to find those 5-man black holes, Yeah.
No, the panel was slightly off. We'll send it back to them so they can make their excuses for why we did not get to see that 5-man black hole from OG as Viking close the game out 2-0.
All right, thank you so much there, Killer Pie Cat. Well done per usual. Wow, devastating stuff for OG. Viking looked so good. This game, a little closer than the first one, at least in that early setting. OG had a couple of moments, right? Monkey King got his Battle Fury. He had his Aghanims. It looked like we might have an even game, but once that gyro came online, Shad showed us who the real boss was.
It looked so good for them. They were in control. They were never really too far ahead when it comes to net worth, but Monkey was ahead of a gyro that had a Wisps to always follow him around, make stacks for him. He even went for that Battle Fury very early on. But Viking, they're just outplaying OG in these fights. Seb didn't have any 5-man, but he had 1 0-man black hole there by the end of the game as well. And those Roche fights around the Roche pit really didn't go OG's way at all. I think they really struggled when it came to keeping people in Wukong's arena. I think that was one of their biggest issues, because Monkey cannot do it on his own if he has Aghanims and Battle Fury, right? That's only farming and damage, but that's it. It doesn't contain them. And those black holes, they didn't happen.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And you have to give props to OG. Their aggressive style, it really came into play, in which they built that lead. We have this Monkey King on top net worth, able to match up against this Gyro, mainly because of the amount of space they had created on the map. But then you look on the flip side, look at how Viking, they were able to move around that pressure. They bided their time, and then they utilized their lineup around a big objective area that was Roshan. And that's where suddenly that kind of 13k lead back around. Vikings now in control because of that one decisive fight. So yeah, it's just patience and discipline coming out from Viking to close out the second game.
All right, boys. Well, we do have an interview. I'm excited to announce it's with one of the core players on Viking GG. We got Boom coming in to join us for a quick winners interview. Boom, can you hear us?
Yep. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound good, buddy. Congratulations on the very convincing win against OG. How's it feel?
Yep, thanks a lot. I mean, feels good. I guess we kind of expected to win, so...
Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys have that confidence because you're now top of the group in this round robin. You're 4-0 in series. Were you guys feeling confident coming into this group stage? Because you've looked so damn good before this tournament and you've continued to deliver now in your first 4 series.
Yeah, we did. I think before this tournament, we played this BTS tournament, and I think we kind of found our playstyle, and we really understand how to play Dota right now. So yeah, I'm really happy with how we're playing, and we're confident.
So before I hand it over to my 2 co-hosts here, excited or a little wary of the patch? Like, you guys are hot right now. You seem to have figured out this formula. The patch is going to drop pretty soon. Throw all of that into chaos, all these new changes. Are you similarly confident that you guys can figure out the new patch pretty quickly?
I mean, not sure. It's always harder to figure it out as a team. But personally, I'm very excited for it because this patch has been here for like a year or something. So it's like, yeah.
Boys?
Congratulations on the victory, man, versus OG 2-0. Not a small thing to do. That Doom performance was awesome. Now, I mean, I'm interested. What's more interesting for you and more enjoyable to play? Like a Doom stomping the game like that one? No matter the opponent, if it's OG, Enigma, or whatever. Or these more like struggling games in which you have to think about 40 minutes in it, devise a strategy to win. Which one do you like? Your ruffle stomps or these, let's say, more cognitive games?
I mean, game 1 was like so much fun for me. I was like laughing since I solo killed him for the first time. Yeah, I had so much fun that game. We were just running it and they can't do anything to me. I mean, I guess it's more fun when you just run them over, right? Because you don't have to think a lot.
I'm also.
I was just trying.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just trying to find a way to make him answer to how much did you enjoy that first game, without being too humble.
It was fun.
Was that you that called for the Doom, or was that a drafter big brain play? It was like, I think Doom is perfect here, and then you were kind of handed the hero.
mean, I don't play Doom a lot, but it was a really free Doom game, so I just said go Doom. And I was so sad that it didn't show my stats at the start of the game, because I have like 10 wins in a row on Doom in pubs. So
lost the dice roll.
Have you prepared your tweet though for after this series? Because of course, you're trying to grow that social presence now. Have you prepared that absolute zinger, or not yet?
Oh, not yet. I think I might just retweet the tweet from yesterday, to be honest.
Ooh, that's powerful.
It was a pretty good one, yeah.
Drop that retweet right now. Get out of my game with the coffin emoji. Have you guys been trying to step up your social media presence, though? As a new team, you're putting up results, but I imagine you're still working on building up that brand, just getting that fan base to know who you guys are, what your play style is like. Is there any strategy with the social media? Are you coming out, with some hot takes anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're trying to work on that because we're all like new players and we don't have none of us have a big following. So yeah, we're trying to do it. But
good luck to you. It's tough out there.
Yep.
Anything else, gentlemen, before we let him go? Nope. Okay. Very
good luck, mate. Yeah, just keep it going. Like, that's it, right? Like, he's the one winning, right? Like, if he was losing, then we might have some good questions. But because he's winning, just let him bask in his glory, get his Twitter game going, and then off we go. So see him again in another interview.
If you guys keep 2-0ing series like this, we're going to have to keep interviewing you guys, and we're going to keep getting crazier with the questions. So prepare yourselves. Less Dota, more real world coming up if these wins keep up.
All right. I'm excited.
All right. Sounds good. Good luck, Boom. Hope you guys keep the streak up.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Well, amazing. Finally get to hear from one of the core players on Viking GG. We've heard from Aramis. We've heard from Solari. Now we've just got Shad and Toby left to delve a little deeper into their psyches. But just wow. I mean, Viking GG. We've said it so many times, but an incredible storyline for this team. Excited to see where it all goes.
It's really one of those things that most of us that have given up on the pro career we're hoping for, right? Like sticking with your friends and, well, not necessarily your best friends, but sticking with the people that you started with and making something happen out of that. Not selling out, not going to a different team, just keeping the band, together and actually accomplishing to prove that you can all play on tier 1 and that you can take down the big names. It's just fantastic stories so far from Icon. And
doing it in Europe, right? The fact that they've, in a region that a lot of players would happily try and, dodge, they'd move to other regions. They're like, no, let's do this in this region. And it's always nice to see where they've come. And I think you touched on it in interviews, Irie. I'm excited to see how they do after the next big patch, though, because that's where the true kind of moment will come in. It's like, are they going to make their place as a tier 1 team if they can learn the patch quick enough to then be like the